Electric scooters have been gaining a lot of traction over the last few years, and with good reasons. EV manufacturers have been pushing new features, new updates, even over-the-air software updates to unlock features and make it that much more appealing for the consumer to choose over its ICE counterpart. Now these four scooters you see here, we've already done a comparison test of this just last year. You can click here to watch that video. But this here, all the four scooters that are there here right now have been updated in some way, shape or form. The Ola, it has gotten a new operating system which has unlocked features that weren't available last year. This iQube S variant gets more range, more performance, a new color scheme, others to choose from as well, and also new connectivity features. This Chetak, although the range and the performance figures are the same, it gets a new battery which is Bajaj's IP now, and it is cooled better, so you can expect better longevity. And then you have the Ather 450X Gen 3. This gets more performance, more features, a new ride mode, and a wider rear tire, all to appease that enthusiast in you. Now this is not going to be a standard run-of-the-mill comparison test. We have 7 tests planned, all fun, all exciting and all different, all to find out different parameters of what owning a scooter like this would be like. So we're going to be starting off with a ride around the go-kart track and setting some lap times, because we at Evo India are enthusiasts, and for a scooter to get our stamp of approval, it needs to be fun to ride, and what better place to do that than at a go-kart track. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up, share this video with like-minded enthusiasts, and click on that bell icon to stay notified on all things thrill of riding. We kick things off with the Ola S1 Pro. Now, because of its acceleration and top speed, it definitely does feel fast. But in terms of its handling, it just doesn't feel inherently sporty. It is agile, but it is not something that will enjoy carving corners as much as something like the Ather 450X. But because of its acceleration, it was the second fastest and clocked a time of 53.84 seconds on the stopwatch for a lap around the track. We then move on to the TVS iQube S. Now, as soon as you set off, you can immediately feel TVS's quintessential handling characteristics. This iQube S felt perfectly at home around the go-kart track, and the only thing keeping it from the top step of the podium is its acceleration. But that's completely fine, considering just how well and balanced the scooter is overall. We then move on to the Bajaj Chetak. This did finish the slowest, but that's not surprising considering its figures are significantly lower than the other 3 scooters here. But it was extremely fun and agile to flick around the go-kart track. But be wary, the second the lean angles start getting higher, you will start scraping the center stand. We've saved the best for last. Now, the Ather 450X was always our benchmark in terms of sheer handling pleasures that you can expect from an EV, and this Gen 3 is no different. It was the most fun to thrash around the go-kart track, and the times show that. This clocked a time of 53.17 seconds, outshining all the other scooters here, and I can gladly say that I had the most fun riding this scooter around the go-kart track. And here are the results. The Ather 450X Gen 3 came first, the Ola S1 Pro came second, the TVS iQube S took the third step of the podium, while the Bajaj Chetak finished fourth. Overall, this was an extremely fun test. Now that we've had a lot of fun at the track, we move on to test number 2, which is to find out just how practical these scooters are by way of how much stuff we can put into each scooter's boot. A scooter at its base, before it is anything else, is a tool of pure utility. It not only allows you to ferry 1 or 2 people, but also allows you to carry a certain amount of luggage that you just can't on a motorcycle. And to find out just how much luggage you can ferry, we're here at one of Pune's many daily local produce markets. And today we're going to find out just how many Mosambis you can fit in a boot of each of these scooters. The Ather 450X fit 45 Mosambis in its 22-litre boot, while the iQube with its 17-litre boot could accommodate 40 pieces of Mother Nature's gift. Now the Chetak could hold only 32. 85 whopping Mosambis, that's how many fit in the Ola's 22-litre boot. But it's interesting to note here that if any of these scooters had their charger in the boot, the number would be significantly lesser. But the Chetak would still be able to hold 32 Mosambis because its charger is extremely neatly integrated in the front apron. We now move on to our third test, which is a slightly ridiculous one. It is to find out whether or not these scooters can do a burnout. As you can see, no one is sitting on the Ola. That is because as soon as you tap the brake, the power cuts off, meaning you can't initiate a burnout, which is also not a great feature because when you're navigating through traffic or taking a tight U-turn, we're very accustomed to pressing the brake and being on the throttle at the same time, but you can't do that and it just cuts power, so it becomes a little unsafe at times. Then we move on to the Chetak. The Chetak, well, it doesn't kill power altogether, but it doesn't get enough power to spin the rear wheel. But at the same time, the fact that it doesn't cut power is still a good plus. Then we move on to the TVS iQube. Same story here, similar to the Chetak. If you tap the brake, it doesn't kill power, but you can't necessarily get the rear wheel to unstick as much. You can do a little bit of that, but then you come to the Ather. Press the brake, pin the throttle, and you get a nice proper burnout. It definitely gets our stamp of approval. We're on to test number 4, which is to find out how these scooters perform with a pillion. When you're riding a scooter, more often than not, you're going to find yourself in a situation where you're riding 2 up, and to expect your scooter to go up to 50 kilometers per hour in a brisk manner is a fair ask. Now the question is to find out which of these scooters get there the fastest. To find out, we have me and my healthy friend Avdut. We took out our trusty V-Box to get the most accurate results, and in this test, the Ola S1 Pro came out on top, taking the least amount of time to get to 50 km per hour with a pillion. The Ather 450X Gen 3 finished a close second, finishing the sprint less than a second slower than the much more powerful Ola. Although the Ather 450X is not the most comfortable scooter for a larger person, and riding 2 up just compounds that issue further. Good thing it's fast then. The Chetak and the iQube S finished 3rd and 4th respectively, and the added weight did slow down the scooters fairly. But credit where it's due, the Chetak and the iQube did chug along happily even when a gradient was thrown into the mix. The Ola, on the other hand, does lose a fair bit of grunt when going uphill with or without a pillion. For those of you keeping count, we are on to test number 5. Now, test number 5 includes finding out the top speed of these scooters. Now, bear in mind, the top speed of ours will differ from yours because we are riding on different conditions. The top speeds that we are going to display are the speeds that we could manage on the street that we have to do so safely. Unsurprisingly, the Ola S1 Pro clocked the fastest speed at 94.7 km per hour, while the Ather 450X Gen 3 came in second place with the V-Box indicating 79.7 km per hour. The TVS iQube reached a respectable 69 km per hour, and the Bajaj Chetak topped out at 63.2 km per hour. Here's where things get interesting. There seemed to be a fair bit of speedo error on the Ola S1 Pro and the Ather 450X because the S1 Pro was showing close to 111 kmph on the speedo, while the Ather was showing 91 kmph on the speedo. The iQube S and the Chetak remained very close to their indicated top speed, and more importantly, the figure is extremely close to the top speed figure that the companies claim for their product. It's time for test number 6, and you must be wondering why the change of scenery. That's because we're back at the Evo India garage, and right after this test, we're going to be putting them in and juicing them up to 100 for the next test, but more on that later. This test entails on finding out just how easy it is to use the interface on these scooters, and to do that, we're going to be putting it against a stopwatch. We're going to be punching in a destination on the navigation systems, and the one that throws up the destination and is ready to navigate the fastest wins. It's just that simple. We're going to start with the Ola. Now the Ola has a nice 7-inch color TFT display and it's touchscreen enabled, and all you have to do is slide from the main screen, click on your navigation setting, type where you want to go. So in this case, I'm going to put MG Road. I found the road and I start. Next up is the Ather. So it is similar to the Ola, but the user interface is a little different. It's not all sliding. You have a few buttons here and there. So from the main screen, there's a navigation icon on the top right hand. Touch on that. Click on search. You type, I'm going to type the same MG Road. Navigation start, and it's begun. Now it's time for the Bajaj Chetak. Now, unlike the other three scooters, here you don't get any fancy color TFT LCD display, whereas here you have a more traditional negatively lit TFT display. Although you can still connect your phone, but not for turn-by-turn navigation or on-screen navigation. What you can do with your phone pairing is track the location of your scooter and also control your music via these buttons over here. But credit where it's due, this interface is really nice. It gets the job done. It tells you all the information you need, and for that, I really like it. And now we have with us the TVS iQube S. This S variant has got with it a brand new screen which is much larger than what it was earlier. On-screen navigation controls with a joystick. Overall, the interface has been made much easier than before. Unlike the ST, which is going to be launching sometime soon, you don't really have on-screen navigation like with the Ola or the Ather, but what you can do is enable turn-by-turn navigations via the app. All you have to do is open the app, pair your scooter, enter the navigation screen, punch in your destination and click Start. Alright, now in terms of time taken, the Ola did finish fastest at 12.84 seconds, with the Ather shortly behind at 14.61 seconds. The TVS iQube S, with its app-based connectivity, took 25.76 seconds to set the navigation destination. Now, despite the Ola being the fastest, I would still give this win to the Ather just for the sheer fact that it uses Google Maps for its navigation instead of Map My India on the Ola. Now, Google Maps just has a wider and more denser data bank, and you're more likely to find your destination no matter how uncommon on Google Maps over Map My India. So in this case, I feel the Ather takes the win. And now it's time for test number 7, the final test for this video. We haven't forgotten range. Range is one of the most important factors when you're considering buying an electric vehicle, and that's exactly what we're going to do right now. We're going to torture test them. They're all at 100% right now, and we're going to ride them till they go to 0 and tell you the exact figure that you can expect. And since we here at Evo India are enthusiasts, we're going to be doing it in the sportiest mode available in each of the scooters. So stay tuned for what those numbers are. Now, I feel obligated to mention that the Ola S1 Pro gets disqualified from this test because 10 kilometers into the range test in the sportiest mode, the motor overheated and switched to normal mode for the rest of the ride. These results were the most eye-opening for me. The Bajaj Chetak in sport mode delivered 72 kilometers of range, with the motor defaulting to eco mode once the SOC runs below 25%. This is great considering that this number is very close to what Bajaj claims. The TVS iQube ran for 70.2 brisk kilometers before the battery gave up, and that is impressive considering the last model would give only close to 80 kilometers on a full charge, with the primary riding done in eco mode. A contributing factor to the high range numbers from these two scooters is also the well-calibrated regeneration system which sends power back to the battery when you roll off the throttle. The Ather 450X Gen 3 with its larger battery pack could deliver 59 kilometers in hyper mode, with the motor switching to eco once the SOC ran below 20%. This is a good jump over the previous model, although the discrepancy of the speedometer carries forward to the range computer as well. And finally, the Ola S1 Pro. Now, we did continue to test it despite it not being in sport mode, but the first 10 kilometers in hyper took a big chunk of juice away from the battery, and despite defaulting to normal mode, the scooter couldn't deliver more than 69 kilometers of range on this full charge, where we know that if you ride it in eco mode, you can get over 100 kilometers. Now that we have completed these 7 tests, the results are quite the mixed bag, and it is difficult to find one clear winner. But it's not always that black or white, is it? Each scooter here is designed to appeal to a different type of rider. The Ather 450X Gen 3 in our eyes remains the scooter of choice for the enthusiast. It handles like a sharp handling motorcycle, looks sharp and futuristic, and has a good balance of performance and range. Although the biggest drawback is that it's not very accommodating for larger riders. The Ola S1 Pro launched with big claims and boasts of a whole bunch of features that others in the segment don't get. But the biggest problem with this scooter is the inconsistency of performance and the shoddy build quality. I just can't get myself to recommend this scooter despite what it says on paper till the company streamlines and massively improves the build quality of this scooter. The TVS iQube S, on the other hand, is a massive upgrade over its predecessor, and it takes everything we loved about the first generation of the iQube and kicks it up a notch. It strikes the perfect balance between sporty and comfort and is a great choice for an individual or a family man, just like its ice sibling, the Jupiter. The Bajaj Chetak, despite getting the lowest output, claimed range, top speed and features, will still get my recommendation because what you see is what you get. The top speed and range are extremely close to what the company claims, and that is fantastic. You need to trust the vehicle you buy, and consistency is the name of the game. And in that, TVS and Bajaj have nailed that brief down to the T. Now, this is what I think. What do you think, and which scooter would you put your money on? Let us know in the comment section down below.